Hi, I'm Dan Costa, editor-in-chief of PCMag.com, here with Dr. Jay Parkinson, the founder and CEO of Sherpa, and one of the most innovative speakers in the healthcare industry that I've ever met. We're going to talk about the future of work, the future of play, and also the future of healthcare. I want to start, before we get into the future, before we get into what Sherpa does and what makes it such a unique institution, I think it's important to revisit the past a little bit and talk about how you first started off in the medical industry and what you started doing differently that you then took into all these business ventures.
Yeah, sure. June 29th, 2007, the iPhone came out, and my last day of residency was June 30th. So the very next day. I saw that so many people were just communicating differently. I was their doctor friend, so my friends would send me emails, photos, and tell me their story, what's going on, and I was just like their connector. I would solve things for them, and I was just like, this is happening so frequently. There's got to be something here. It's got to be a business or something.
So you started it informally, you rolled it into your practice, and it was as simple as using the smartphone and Google Calendar to manage your practice.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. People could go to my site, click on make an appointment. That would bring up my Google Calendar. You could choose a time, tell me your symptoms and your address, and that would send an alert to my new iPhone. I'd do a house call, and we'd follow up on email, and you'd pay me via PayPal. So it cost about $1,500 to get started. My overhead was about 5%. And it was, I got so much press, there was like an immediate practice available to me. So it was very cool.
It was a great story, and there were multiple accounts. And actually, if you type in Doctor of the Future, your name still comes up in a lot of those. So you've got a pretty good search SEO optimization on that term.
I didn't do that on purpose.
But it happened.
Yeah.
So now, it's a couple years down the line. It's not just you. You've found a way to scale this approach and scale it with Sherpa. Explain how Sherpa works.
Well, Sherpa is best described as just primary care in the cloud. It's a membership-based practice where we contract with other companies or individuals. And your doctor is now available to you, your same doctor over and over is now available to you 24/7 within our app. So it's all about asynchronous email-like messaging within the app. So you don't have to sort of schedule time, you just communicate as you go throughout your day. And it's really just a new way to communicate and problem solve. We order tests, we'll send you to the lab, we'll send you to get an x-ray, we follow up with you, we check in with you. And basically what that means is the vast majority of primary care can be delivered online without actually having to go see anybody.
So if you have questions and you're watching this live, you can ask them in the comments section. We'll endeavor to answer them live. If you're listening to this as a rebroadcast, you can still ask questions in the comments section, but don't expect live responses because that's not the way the internet works. I'm sure our first question is going to be, how much does the service cost on a monthly basis?
Well, right now it's $40 a month. It's unlimited care. It's 24/7. It's whenever you think about how much an urgent care visit costs, which is $300. It's 2 urgent care centers, less than 2 urgent care center visits a year.
And that's the thing, is that most American consumers of healthcare have no idea what a visit costs, what a phone call costs, what their doctor's time costs, or what the insurance companies are paying. So let's use a test case here. I woke up, just assume I didn't take my contacts out at night, and I woke up and I've got an itchy eye and I think that I've got pink eye. I wake up in bed, I open up the Sherpa app, and I start communicating with Sherpa. Follow us through what happens after that.
So, right, you fire up the app, you tell us your story. It's typically about a paragraph or so. Our doctors then read that, and we fire off a series of questions to you. We've built these protocols for taking a good, accurate history over the last 5 years. And we ask a bunch of questions. You respond to them, we get those answers back. We might ask a few more questions. If we need to do labs, we'll send you to the lab. If we need tests, we'll get those tests. But it's really just, it's an ongoing communication stream between you and me. And we get your problem solved as quick as you can.
Something routine like pink eye, that there's going to probably need to be a prescription. Yeah. You can phone that in and just have it waiting at Dwayne Reed?
That's so old school. Yeah. No, man, we do it in the app. We e-prescribe through the app. You get the alert that, hey, there's a new medication that wants to be prescribed to you. You either choose, I accept this medication, or I deny this medication. If you accept the medication, it shows all the pharmacies around you. You choose your pharmacy, that fires off the prescription.
So what's the scale of Sherpa right now? This started, way back in the day, it wasn't called Sherpa, it was just you helping your friends. Now, how many doctors do you have? How many customers do you have?
So we're in about 42 states. The practice, each doctor can handle about 3,500 folks We have about 10 doctors right now.
It seems like a lot.
It's pretty interesting because we're so efficient. It's asynchronous, right? It's not the sort of, in-person communications. We can juggle a lot of, balls, and we can handle a lot of things at the same time. So typical doctor practices are about 1,800 to 2,000 people. We're at about 3,500. So it's just because it's so friggin' efficient.
I'm going to come back to that asynchronous thing, but we've got a question from the audience.
Do you use a chatbot for handling any inquiries?
No, we don't use any chatbots. It's our app. So our app is really focused on the main functionality is just asynchronous messaging with our doctors.
So it's real people on either side. Can you envision a future where it will be, at least some portions of it, automated with a chatbot? Like maybe those first couple of questions to put you in a certain bucket?
Yeah, we've thought about that. It's pretty interesting. The first thing you do is choose, hey, I'm sick or I'm hurt or something like that. It's really valuable for us to have your own words and your own story. So we get that. And then, we fire off those questions. And those questions are very protocolized and checklist driven. So, I'm a little hesitant to sort of have a bot sort of identify what's going on and go down a rabbit hole. Meanwhile, it's really important for our doctors to just have the story in your own words and then use their expertise to really figure out which rabbit hole they should go down.
Cool. And another question from the audience.
Do you have specialists or are these general practitioners?
So right now, the doctors that work for us are both internal medicine doctors and psychologists. Our back end is like a CRM for specialists that we work with, urgent care centers, radiology centers, ERs, that sort of thing. So those are sort of shareable objects within cases. So if I want you to see a neurologist that specializes in headaches in LA, we just start typing that search term and our system presents to the doctor, the doctor that you should see that takes your insurance that's closest to you, that's specializing in what you do. That's
actually a really great example, a CRM system for medicine and for doctors, because it really is about managing the patient relationship. And there's great software for doing that. It sounds like you built it your own. Did you use any other outside tools to help cobble it together? Or?
No, we built everything from the ground up. It's healthcare. We got to sort of have everything buttoned up. So.
You got to be compliant. I'm sure we're going to get a question about that. I want to go back to this idea of asynchrony. When people, the first bloom of telemedicine, everybody thought there would be doctors talking with patients via video, via Skype calls, and there's some of that out there. But you've sort of embraced the opportunity of text communication as being really, really valuable. Can you just explain your thoughts on text versus video and the values of each?
Yeah, I mean, you combine WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Gmail, and there's something like 80 billion messages sent a day. Meanwhile, Skype has about 2 to 3 million asynchronous video calls a day. I mean, the consumers have spoken. I think we've spoken. I mean, that's how everybody communicates nowadays. Introducing sort of synchronous scheduling, it's so inefficient. It's just the bottom line. It's so inefficient.
You shouldn't have to be, real-time communication isn't what it's about. The information can move faster if you do it asynchronously, and the doctor can do research. It may take 10 minutes to get back.
Well, exactly, and that's what our doctors love about it. It's like, you can't expect a doctor to know everything. And so whenever you're presenting with something that's a little bit weird, they can go up and brush up on what's going on, Same thing goes for the patient. The other day, we had a patient who, created a case on Friday. We sent the questions off. She didn't get back to us until Monday, but she prefaced it with saying, I spent the whole weekend thinking about these. And like that in and of itself is amazing, because if you go to the doctor, you're thinking on your feet, you're embarrassed, you're cold, you've been waiting forever. It's terrible communication.
And the whole idea of waiting rooms, whether you're waiting in the waiting room, whether you're waiting in the office, and the doctor's only got a limited amount of time, all those waiting steps get removed, and you just get the advice and the information that you need.
Absolutely. I mean, it's better on both sides, I swear. The doctors love it, the patients love it. It's a better world.
So, and a better world and a cheaper world. I mean, so when you think of Sherpa, do you see it as primarily an added convenience to the customer, better quality healthcare, or just a cheaper way to take care of more people?
I mean, you can't separate those. It's a service, and it's sort of been designed with convenience and cost in mind. The most expensive thing in healthcare is the doctor's pen, right? When you go see them, they order a bunch of tests. They don't even discuss with you the costs, So costs are baked into Sherpa's platform so that we know ahead of time, for the most part, what you should be paying. You know.
Yeah, and the number of times, I mean, so this is, Sherpa, are most people using it? I know for a while you were only available to businesses, now you're available directly to consumers. What's the mix? Is it mostly businesses still that are buying it? Is it mostly consumers? How do you see your customer base shifting?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the direct-to-consumer thing. We did that, we launched that about 3 months ago, and that's really the dream, you know? It's give everybody access to doctors that sort of just get today's world, you know? It's still, you know, growing. It's a brand spanking new. What is interesting is the age skews a little higher compared to the B2B line. So on average for the direct-to-consumer, it's 39-40, but a 34 for the B2B.
Right. Possibly because older people are going to use the services more. They can afford more, you know, a concierge service on top of their insurance.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't look at this so much as concierge service. That typically means, you know, $5,000 a year. This is really about just convenience. You know, it's cheaper than going to traditional doctors. If you go to the ER, if you go to the urgent care center, which is what most people are doing.
So automating healthcare, I know that people are going to be concerned that we're going to get to a point where we don't have doctors at all, that we're diagnosed with a tool like Watson that has access to massive troves of diagnostic databases and patterns and can identify that in your case, given your genetic history, this is what's wrong. Do you see that happening, or do you think there still needs to be that human factor?
Well, if you look at sort of any AI sort of academic research, they say that like augmenting the human brain with AI is the way to go.
Working in partnership.
Yeah, working in partnership. So we're already doing some of that stuff. So you really just need to just let doctors sort of say, you know, they can take an accurate history, but then if you present to them, you know, hey, did you think about this as well? That makes a lot of sense to me.
We got a question from the audience.
Just to clarify, where is your service available, and is there any expansion planned?
So the service...
Probably faster to say where it's not available.
Yeah, no, that's true. So the service is available in 42 states. That's mostly due to some telemedicine laws, and we really want to stay clear of those. But for the most part, it's those 42 states are, you know, 95% of America's population.
So I know this question, it's funny, when I travel in Europe and I talk about the future and technology and technology databases and tracking, there are lots of privacy concerns. Here in the US, there tend to be fewer privacy concerns, but you still notice that people are concerned about the privacy of their relationship with their doctor. I mean, how have you overcome that and made people feel more comfortable with it?
Well, just being HIPAA compliant is important, obviously. Following just best practices. That's the most you can do nowadays. And then you can just, you know, build trust with the consumer and just say, hey, here's what we are, here's what we stand for. But really, it's just following best practices. There's nothing really, you know, deeper than that.
You think, and is HIPAA enough? I mean, do you think are there any laws or regulations that need to be imposed to sort of give people more control over their personal information, or do you think the way the laws are now, it's okay?
I think if you're a responsible company, you go way above what HIPAA requires.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just what we stand for.
Is talk to me about the future of Sherpa. Do you just want to cover more people, get more people in the program? How do you see the service evolving over time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely more and more people, obviously. But really what I'm interested in is how can we sort of take the doctor outside of every single interaction and really use them as the sort of big thinker and sort of the one that sets the plan in motion. And, you know, doctors aren't the best at executing plans. They're really good at designing plans. And so what I think is most valuable is if you can take the doctor out of that equation so that they're just making those big decisions, you can decrease cost and increase quality.
One of the examples you've used is that the doctor shouldn't be thought of as the CEO of your personal health. It's like you're the CEO and the doctor's the consultant.
Totally.
You're only going to see them once or twice a year. They're going to get you back on track, but then it's going to be on you to execute. It seems to me the Sherpa app is sort of that thing you can check every day and work with every day, but it's not It's not expecting the doctor to solve all of your problems.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. It's pretty nice because whenever a doctor sort of presents a plan to you, that's how it's presented in the case. It's like, here's step 1, step 2, step 3, that sort of thing. So it is something that people can use. We're not really trying to solve the problem of day-to-day use. It's really a, how can you check in with us for preventive issues every quarter or something like that. But healthcare has always suffered from sort of usability issues. We really want to be this thing that's like, it's not too invasive, but just ridiculously helpful when you need us.
Very cool. So how can people find you online, find out more about what Sherpa is doing? Twitter and the Sherpa website?
I am like online everywhere. Yeah, so Twitter, Sherpa.com, Facebook, anything you want.
Online in all the places.
Absolutely.
Dr. J, thanks so much for coming in and talk to us about the future of healthcare. That's Fast Forward for today. We're going to be back with a new show next week. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you in the future.